Hey everybody, welcome back to Top 100 Games. Today we're going to do numbers 40 to 31. I literally have just started making a cup of tea in the kitchen and was like, do you know what, I'm going to do this. So this is not even slightly prepared as usual, diving straight in. Number 40 is a lovely little game called Dungeon Keeper. This is one of the first games I had on PC, way back in the day. You play the part of like the lord of a dungeon, and you dig out the tunnels and bring in the monsters to stop the heroes from coming in and destroying the heart of your dungeon. And I actually completed this one. This is one of the rare things on this list. This is a game I actually finished. And the last level is probably what makes it stick in my mind, other than the fact that it's a really great game. But when I completed it, the last level, it was a complete stalemate, and then I started losing. And then I remembered there was something you could do, sacrificing creatures or something, that would get the big red guy with the scythe in. And I did that, and he came in and just massacred, and I only just won. And this was 20 years ago, maybe, and I've played it like 4 or 5 times since then. But just the fact that I nearly lost, and right at the last minute got it back, and I completed the game with that move. I've always felt really accomplished. I have actually played this fairly recently. It's on Good Old Games now, so I've been able to download it and play it, and it's still lots of fun. It looks a bit dated, but it's really fun. I never actually played the sequel, even though I've owned it twice now. Just never got around to it. Apparently it's better, but this game is really good fun. You can actually like walk around the dungeons as well and assume control of the minions, and there's different kinds. You've got the little imps that go around digging up the gold seams, and the big old round smelly guys, and this sort of seductress things with leather and chains, and you make torture chambers for them to live in. And when I played it recently, just the sound effects, it all brought so many things flooding back. So this was one of the first proper PC games that I really played. I just absolutely loved it back in the day, and it still pops in my head. I played it recently, did the first few levels, and it's still got the magic, and I really enjoy playing that, and it's got lots of good memories of it as well. And the guy who does the speaking, like the narration, whenever I was play it, Mum always used to call out that it was Mr. Worf from Star Trek. Doesn't really sound like him, but that's what she always said. Number 39 is a cracker of a fun game called Jet Strike. It's a side-on flying game that Crispetto had initially on the Amiga. No, I had a demo of it. I think actually he had a demo for a long time, and the flying was kind of fun, and there was like bombing missions and shooting things and helicopters and that sort of thing. And we had lots of good fun playing it, but the demo was all we had for ages, and we had so much fun playing that when he finally got his hands on the full game, well, there's so many more planes and missions and helicopters and stuff. It was crazy. And then there was one night back in 2001, I think, where Chris came over to my house to watch football, and I had an Amiga emulator on my PC at that point, and I had a Jet Strike on there, and we sat and played it for ages. And I think Claire came over, and the three of us were just sat like in a row in front of the computer for about 4 or 5 hours playing Jet Strike. And for us back then, we were reliving memories of, only about 5-6 years previously, and you think back now, it was quite a while ago, sort of 16 years since then, let alone back in the Amiga days. I just remember sitting in front of that, and that was a point in time where I was feeling really balanced with myself, and sort of everything was kind of working, college was going well, and it was coming up to Christmas as well. I'm pretty sure it was December time, and just one of those really nice memories of being sat with a good friend playing a good fun game. Trip down memory lane then. The game itself is still pretty fun. The flying's difficult, but yeah, I really like this one. Lots of good memories. Number 38 is another Amiga game called Super Frog. A good platform game, and again, Crispetto had this one first, and eventually it made its way into our house, and Mum would play it, Kaz would play it, I would play it. The 2 girls that my mum babysat for her friend They used to love it as well. We kind of like squabble over the computer to be the ones to play Super Frog. Might have completed it. Can't really remember. It's out on PC now as like a HD version, and it's exactly the same as it was back then. Played it a little bit. Gave a copy to Mum. She played it for a bit as well. And the music's still there, and it's still got the charm, and it's just a cracking platformer that takes me back to Christmas time. Funny enough, it was a time when the house was always full of people. The two girls were always excited about everything, and when Mum gets in the Christmas mood, she probably gets in the Christmas mood. So there was lots of that going on, and there's always somebody playing Super Frog at this time of year. So it was like cold, wintry, low light, 6 people in the living room, family sort of thing. Some really good memories of that, and that would have been, I don't know, mid-90s, maybe Christmas 95 or 96. Just really nice. When I think of like family Christmases and like the time leading up to Christmas, because now when you're older, it's kind of like, oh yeah, Christmas is coming. But you know, for me, when I think, oh man, what was it like growing up with family Christmases? This sort of era pops into my head with some really warm memories with a good game. That's it, still played today, and it's still really good. Number 37, Sid Meier's Colonization. This was one of the very first games we got for our PC. We got the first family PC in Christmas, just before Christmas '96, and Mum got this game for Christmas in 1996. It's kind of like a Civilization game, but it's based on the discovery of the New World in North America. So you go to the land, there's the other European nations there as well, so you're sort of vying for space and competing. You can do trading and that sort of thing. And there's also Indian tribes there as well. And you do... I'm just going to pop you down for a sec whilst I finish my tea. So you've got other tribes, and then you can do trade deals, and you can trade back with Europe as well. You could build ships and buy ships, and then get various experts in certain fields and things from Europe to come back to the New World with you. So you can sort of go and see what's there and hire what you need. And it's one of those games that I mean, Civilization's got that reputation for, I just have one more go, and you just keep on having that one more go, and suddenly it's 2 AM. And this game was definitely that for Mum and for me. We used to play Civilization on the Commodore, the Atari, and the Amiga up to this point as well. So this was like the next step up for that, for both of us. So I'd sit with my mum and play it. I'd play it by myself. This was 96. I played it when I had PCs up in my room in the 2000s. I played it probably a couple of years ago, and it's still so incredibly playable. They did a remake with the Civilization 4 engine, which I played for a little bit, but there's just something about that old school graphics and the old music that makes the old DOS game better, and it's the one that I would go to. Kind of spoiled it for myself by finding out there was cheat codes that gives you like lots of money and stuff. So I have played a game of it with infinite money just to see what it's like to be able to sort of demolish, and it's kind of tainted it a little bit. But so more memories of playing with my mum, playing on my own, looking forward to playing it, and I hear the music and I see the screenshots and stuff, and I'm just like, I want to play it. I want to play it right now. It's one of those that gets in my head, and I just want to play it. So I'm even thinking about it now. I had a quick bash on a similar game just now, and now I'm thinking about this again. So, but I can't do that now because I've still got 6 more titles to do, and so let's carry on. Number 36 is Sensible World of Soccer on the Amiga, particularly the 1995-96 edition that my dad bought for me. I was like, oh, can I get this please? Like, I had some sort of catalogue or something, and he just surprised me with it, and just was like, there you go. And so, oh wow, because the game came out right at the start of the season, so the season was still the current season when I got it. So it was all the names on Match of the Day and everything were all in this game. And I got quite good at it as well. Played with I did a career. You could do like a management career where you buy and sell players and stuff, and you play the matches as well. And I couldn't decide what team to do, so I picked the team that was bottom of the bottom league at that time, which was Preston North End, and I did 20 managerial seasons with them and won just about everything. And that's hours and hours of gameplay up in my room playing that. But the biggest memory I have of this game is with Chris Beddoe. He was always better than me at this. And there's a move you can do from the corner. If you just knock the corner in and you hold down the joystick button and then push diagonally at the same time, like a snap thing, you do both at the same time. You do like a standing jumping header. And he was a master at that, but I couldn't do it as well. And so my tactic that I learnt was if you knock the ball out for corners against the computer was rubbish with corners. So my natural defensive thing was to just be like, just do the corner and then clear the corner, that'd be fine. So one day around Chris Beddoe's house, we had a World Cup. I was England and he was Scotland. And we met in the semi-final. And I think he took the lead. And then I equalised. And then I was winning. And it was coming down to the end of the game. I think it was 1-1. It was either 1-1 or 2-1 at extra time or normal time. So it went to extra time, and I think I scored in the first half of extra time, or one of the halves of extra time, to go 2-1 or 3-2 up. I can't remember what the score was. I think it was 1-1. So I went a goal ahead. And then he had the ball down my end, and I reactively kicked it out for that corner to get rid of it. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? Knowing, because you can't defend against the header that he did. So he did that, and he equalised, and it went to a penalty shootout. Now we still talk about this now. This was a long time ago. This was probably late 90s, possibly whilst we were doing our MVQ year. So it's like 2000 maybe. We still talk about this now because it went to a penalty shootout. And Steve McManaman, the player, I was like, oh, he'll score, and he missed, and I actually lost the penalty shootout. It went to the final. I was like, oh man, that's a shame. But that was like, I nearly beat him. I never beat him. It was like we very rarely played properly competitively like we did, so this was kind of like a one-off. So it got to the final, and then I was watching him play against, I can't even remember what team it was, probably Germany or something like that. And he passed the ball back to his goalie, and his goalie ran out the goal, and the ball just rolled in, and he actually lost the game 1-0 thanks to that goal. Andy Gorham let him down, and Colin Hendry scored the own goal. All this time later, and I still remember that, because I still wind him up about it, because neither of us won the cup that day. That was a good one. That was good fun. Yeah, it's a nice little game. I've played it on... There's like a version for it on the Xbox Arcade that I got as soon as I saw it was on there. Played it a little bit, but it's not quite the same with a joypad as it is with a joystick. It's not too bad with the fight pad though. The fight pad I've got plays it quite well. But if you're going to play football, and I've got various FIFAs and things, so it's not exactly the first thing I think of. But every now and then I get an urge to play it, so I'll load it up. But I got some great memories of playing this with Chris. The very first Sensible Soccers. I think I played this with Gary Deere and Paul Roxburgh and a couple of others when I was really sort of just getting into games as well, and it's really fast-paced, fluid, and you think of like the isometric old football games. Sensible Soccer's top-down, very, very fast, very quick. Yeah, so some really, really fun times playing that. Number 35 is a game that I haven't played for a very long time. It's possibly too high on this list for where it is, based upon some other things that I've read out already in other videos. But it's Syndicate on the Amiga. This game was incredible. I mostly watched Chris play this at first. Chris Beddoe over at his house. At anything Amiga-y, he had it all first, you know. So I would often go around there to hang out and watch him play. I didn't mind. I like watching people play games. So with this one, you've got a group of people and you've got targets to go and get, and you've got all kinds of different weapons, and you can persuade people to follow you and then give them weapons. And there's sort of cars you can blow up and rocket launchers you can use and enemy guys that you can get, and the whole thing was just bordering on mischievous. It was it's just really, really good fun, just creeping around the streets, looking for the target to take out with your group of men that you could kind of split off and then have different weapons with. And yeah, it's a good time to play in this. And there was a sequel to it that came out, Syndicate Wars, that I played a little bit, and it was not. It didn't catch my attention like the original Syndicate did. And Syndicate's one I've been meaning to go back to for a long time. I've seen some videos of it, and it's one of those ones where the graphics of it really made me go, oh yeah. I had lots of fun playing that. I played it loads when I finally got my hands on a copy of it. Just did the same levels over and over and over again because it was just so much fun to do the whole street thing and take people out and try and sort of get people near cars so you could blow the cars up with them next to it. That was really good. Next up is number 34. Now this one is a pretty big one for me personally. It is The Sims 2 and most of the add-ons. This game I played a lot when it first came out. Like I remember the Longshanks were the funds from Sims 1. I mentioned those in another video. My first family that I made in Sims 2 was Potsy and Shay Watch, were their names. And they had a son called Ethan. That was the first family I did. And yeah, that was I mean, The Sims is The Sims. Everybody knows The Sims. You build your house, you get your stuff, and you make your families, and you tell your stories. The biggest reason why this is on this list, and honestly this could be right near the top, the best experience I've had with anything The Simsy was in Australia. When I went out there with Anna, we had a lot of time with not really much going on and not really much money. So when you're in Australia and like the city centres and it's dark and you're poor, you make the most of the free electricity in the hostel rooms. And between us, we must have racked dozens of hours on The Sims 2 over the time we were there. We had our own stories going on. Where we barely played it at the same time. We often did it whilst the other person was doing something else for like an hour, half an hour, whatever, here and there. But it kept Anna sane when I was working, when she was not, and it kept me sane in the evenings when I just wanted to like chill for a bit whilst after dinner or whatever before we went out. So our characters kind of interacted with each other, and we would build our stories and be sort of point out, well, oh, your character's just walked into my house while this is all going on, and then we had all these interlocking stories. And unfortunately, we did have like a big gallery with loads of pictures and like a storybook thing, but it went somewhere. It just vanished one day and it wasn't there anymore, which is really annoying. Still got lots of the screenshots. I've still got a disc somewhere with all the characters and stuff on. But yeah, and when I came home, I was like, oh, I'll carry this on, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. You can't go, oh, remember this? Oh, look at that. And you're just telling somebody about something that they don't really care about. So yeah, there was a big thing that kept us sane when we were out in Australia back in 2005, 2006. I took my old ass laptop out there with me, and I bought The Sims 1, the full thing, so we could sort of have that because we were talking about it. I was like, oh, it's really cheap in like the game, or I think it was game. And so we bought it, but my laptop was rubbish. It just didn't like games. It just kept on crashing. It was really disappointing. So I actually bought a laptop whilst I was out there. Honestly, the first sort of couple of months we were there, we were living like kings because we were just like, that's right, we'll get work. We got money, it's fine. So I bought a laptop that worked, and then I started saying about, because the trouble with Sims 1 is the kids don't age, but in The Sims 2 there's like generations, and so everything like grows old. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. So I ended up buying The Sims 2 instead, trading back in the Sims 1, and we bought some expansion packs around out there as well, and yeah, some good lots of good memories about that, and we still talk about Sims from time to time now. Anna and I. She plays The Sims 4 primarily, and I played The Sims 3 Medieval recently. The Sims 3 I haven't played Sims 4 yet, and to be honest, I've hardly played Sims 2 since back then. But lots of good memories about that. And if anyone says Sims 2, it just makes me smile. Number 33 is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Primarily the first one. This is probably going to put most of them together because I can't really tell the 3 or 4 that I've played apart too well. So it's this Ace Attorney, the Phoenix Wright games. Obviously play the part of Phoenix Wright, who's a defense attorney, and there's two sort of stages to the game. There's a bit in between the courtroom where you're going around looking for clues, talking to people, and sort of trying to build your case. And then the second half of the game is in the courtroom where you're presenting the evidence that you found to catch out the prosecution to try and win the cases. And there's some really charming stories. The characters are really good. The levels are really good. And it's one of those ones where you do kind of have to think about it as you're going around, because you kind of have to look everywhere and show everybody everything, and eventually you'll find that one piece that you missed somewhere, or that one person you hadn't shown something to that extends. Because when you're kind of ready, the game's like, oh, and then we go to the courtroom, so you can't really miss anything. And in the courtroom, you only get, I think, 3 or 5 tries to present the right evidence at the right time. Otherwise, it's game over. So yeah, the stories are really good. The characters are really charming. Played this on DS. I played this on my phone. Actually, over Christmas, I played it at work last Christmas, on lunch breaks and so on my phone on a good emulator. So that was really cool. I could do that. I do have it still on DS as well. My DS was in a box somewhere at that stage. I've played the first one through maybe 4 or 5 times, and I've played the second maybe 3. Just really enjoy the courtroom shenanigans. The characters are really cool, and I don't want to give too much away about the storyline and everything, but there's a little bit more to everybody than first meets the eye, and then the characters, they sort of go away and then they come back later. And of course the opposition, you've got Miles Edgeworth, who was friends with Phoenix at school, and then his tutor, old Von Karma, would stop at nothing to get a guilty verdict, and he actually rigs cases so the prosecution always wins. So you have to outfox him as well, which is kind of cool. And it's very clever how the courtroom stuff does. You're sort of reading the statements like line by line, and you assign evidence that contradicts each thing. Sometimes it's a little bit squiffy, where it's just like they've worded it so slightly different from the truth that you have to jump on that. But I mean, that's fine. And I really like it. Recommend it to people who don't really know what to play. They kind of like puzzle games, but they're just sort of a bit like, because it is really good fun. Number 32 is another classic. It's called Minecraft. You might have heard of it. Minecraft I've played a lot by myself. It's quite possibly the game that I've played the most in the last couple of years, in total. As well as playing it by myself on my PC. I've played it with my mum. I've played it with Claire. I've played it lots with Claire, to be honest. I played it with a couple of Claire's friends from Wales. We did a big online sesh for a couple of times. It's just one of those games you can just sit and play. It's like Lego bricks. Where you get a bucket of Lego on the table and you just sit there and fiddle. And then suddenly, like, loads of time's gone by and you might have built something. The bear game itself is good. Like, I'd give it like a good solid 8 out of 10. You stick in mod packs of any kind, it fast approaches 9 or 10, it jumps up immediately. If you're gonna give it a run, don't do Brain Systems. But if you were gonna do that, having the mod packs in it just makes it incredible. Because the base game, you've got like a furnace and a crafting table, and that's what you build stuff on. The add-on packs, you have different stages of furnaces that can get better. You have power supply like windmills, wind turbines, cobble generating, lava crucibles, lava generators, jetpacks, vehicles, guns, catapults. You can make a functioning drawbridge and portcullis, which you can't do any of this in the base game, and you can't do it on console. You can only do it on PC. So Claire and I we spent ages on this factory. We're going to make a cookie making factory. So we built like a big factory and we decorated it inside and out. And then we spent ages looking for the jungle trees so we could make the cocoa beans to get the chocolate bits for the cookies. Then we had to build a system to automate the farming of that, which you can't do this and that on the base game either. Then we had to get a wheat farm, which you can automate as well, with the factory. So we had that outside the factory, and those would feed into the factory to combine with a recipe machine that would make the cookies. So you just basically turn it on, and it starts making cookies. And we must have made, I can't remember, it was like 20-something thousand cookies before we got bored and started doing something else. On that same map, I made a football stadium, which was really cool. And I made a Chinook helicopter. And I started making like a space station underground to sort of see if I could feasibly do it. And then the map corrupted, so that was the end of that. I started making an original series Enterprise, the 1-to-1 scale, in Minecraft, and then started decorating the inside, and just kind of got sidetracked, so I haven't gone back to it. But that was really good, even though I accidentally blew it up. The texture pack I was using, the TNT, looked really cool as part of like a corridor thing, so I put that down everywhere in the top part that I built, and then the pressure plates that opened the doors detonated the TNT and blasted my saucer section, so it ended up looking like a donut. I was mortified because it was hours of work that was gone, and Minecraft saves like every second, so you can't just go on it and just reload it. I hadn't backed it up, so I had to rebuild everything, and of course it never looks quite right the second time round. And Claire and I also did a game where we were going to go 250,000 blocks from the outside of the map to find the middle, and then in the middle we were going to decide what we were going to do and build something. And then we thought we'd do that with a cocktail recipe book, so we would drink cocktails for every session. And the first one, we got a bit tipsy, and the second one, the drink was horrible, so it kind of spoiled it a bit. The first one was a bit nasty, but the second cocktail was really horrible, and that video never got produced or anything because it wasn't quite right. And the problem was we started off pretty sober, but by the time we'd played for a couple of hours and we were like, okay, we're kind of done now, we were like, I want some more drink now. So what we should have done is just had a massive 6-hour recording session and just got smashed. That'd been really good. But we're not going to finish that series because that map, I think, was the one that got corrupted. So we were going to do that again, but we never got around to it. And then if you're going to talk about Minecraft, you have to talk about the night I played with Chris and Sai as well, where we made our base that Chris blew up with letting the creeper in and ruining my vegetable garden and my pen and digging holes where he shouldn't have, and then just triumphantly storming out. And then of course me and Sai made the Endor roller coaster, a really shitty outrider, and there's a volcano involved and other stuff. And we've been talking about making a Goonies restaurant, the Fratelli's restaurant, and the Underground Hotel now for probably a couple of years. I'm pretty sure I was still in Wales a couple of years ago when we started talking about that. So we're going to get around to that sooner or later. That'd be good fun. I've sort of already got a few ideas in mind of what we're going to do there. So have you noticed? I could talk about Minecraft till the cows come home. I can't say it's one of my favouriteest games of all time. Obviously it is. It's number 32 on the list. Maybe that's too low, but I really like it. I haven't played it for a while. I mostly seem to play it by myself these days, and There's good challenge maps you can do, single player, but a lot of them are kind of like hardcore quests where you start off with nothing and slowly have to build yourself up. And after you've done about 10 of those, the first like 3 hours where you just have no food and no tools or no equipment, it just gets a bit old. You're just like, oh, I've already done this. But you don't want to cheat it in because that's cheating. But yeah. Alright, anyway, so that's Minecraft. Number 31 is James Pond 2 Robocod, which I was absolutely addicted to when I was like 10 in year 6. They even had a like a fan secret agent kids pack thing you could get that had like various like how to be a spy tips and that sort of thing, and I was all over that. Yeah, I had one of those. The game though, it's so nice and pretty because it's all about like sweets and food, and it's also like really bright and vibrant. You know, it's a platformer, and you're just trying to rescue the penguins that have been been stolen. So you're running and jumping. The first outside sort of main hub level is kind of like a big castle, and you've got doors that you go in that's got various stages, and there's some that have got like jelly where it's bouncy, and icing where it's slippery, and you're picking up cakes and various things like that. And outside, I always remember there's 5 things in a row. If you pick them up in the order of their first letter, it spells cheat, and you get like a shield that makes you invincible for a few minutes, and it's enough time to do the first couple of levels without taking any hits. So you could use that like later on for a later level as well, if there's something that's a bit tough. I can't remember what the things were. There's like I think E was an earth for like a globe, and H was a hammer. I can't remember. But anyway, so we played loads of this. Yeah, loads and loads and loads of it. But I've hardly played it since the Amiga days. I did load it on an emulator a couple of years ago, but it didn't run too well, so I was a bit put off by it. But back when I was 10, all I drew was Robocod, all I talked about was Robocod, all I ever wanted to be was Robocod, you know. And it's just a shame the first game wasn't as fun, and the third game wasn't anywhere near as good. So the second one is where it's at, and the music, still got that in my head. I think I got it for my birthday. It must have been my birthday. I remember being really excited about having it in a box, and of course, you know, it's all gone now, and no idea what happened to the spy stuff. That probably went a long time ago. James Bond 2 Robocods, massive part of little 10-year-old me. On his Amiga, I think I played it on first. I might have had it on Atari and Amiga. Probably had it on both. So yeah. Alright, so that's next 10. A lot of rambling about The Sims and Minecraft in that one. So there's only 3 more videos to go. Honestly, I'm going to be at a loose end after I've recorded these, because it's been a lot of fun thinking about this. I've seen now that lots of things are out of place. So what I might have to do is listen back through everything as well as looking in front of me. I've got it all kind of on the table there on sheets. So I need to like try and sort this order out. But I probably won't do another video because unless I might list everything out and just say what's moved in like a mop-up video. So that's it. So now we've got 1 to 30 left to go. So next time will be 30 to 21. And then after that will be 20 to 11. But there are 11 titles in that one instead of 10. Which I will explain when I get round to it. So yeah, so that's it for now. Thank you for watching. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.